Now we're up to a woman who leads a hectic life in show business and still raises a baby girl. She's the 25-year-old former Miss America, Vanessa Williams. Vanessa has a year-and-a-half-old baby daughter called Melanie, and she says she couldn't have her career and raise her baby alone. She's done it with her husband, Ramon Hervey. Vanessa says that when Melanie was first born, it was actually easier because she slept so much. She was able to take the sleeping baby to the recording studio. But then Melanie grew a little older and more active, and Vanessa had to rearrange her schedule, and that's where Ramon came in. Vanessa would take care of Melanie during the day, and then Ramon would come home from his 9-to-5 job at a public relations and management firm. At night, he took care of the baby while Vanessa would head off to the recording studio. They worked out similar arrangements when Vanessa had to shoot her videos and later scheduled concerts and personal appearances on TV. Vanessa told writer Renee D. Turner, Melanie would get up about 5 a.m. ready to play, and I was exhausted. Still, Vanessa says she wouldn't trade motherhood for anything. Quote, when she laughs at you and really needs you, that's when you know you're number one in her life. And that's what makes it all worthwhile.
Number 40.
Tumbling 10 notches is a mom who says she takes her two daughters everywhere, even to the studio where she recorded this hit.
Casey's Top 40.
And that means we're up to the number 1 song in the USA on Casey's Top 40. And it's by a singing star who says that at first no one would take her seriously as a singer. The problem wasn't her voice, it was her looks. You see, she had once been crowned Miss America. And because of that, she says she had turned into a walking, talking trophy. The woman who sings this week's number 1 told us that being beautiful can be a real problem because, like it or not, people figure that's the extent of your talents. After her reign as Miss America, she tried pursuing a recording career. She knew she needed a demo, so she recorded a tape of some show tunes. Not exactly a move that put her on the cutting edge of music, but a good move in terms of showing off the range of her voice. Like any newcomer, she started taking that tape around to record companies. But unlike any newcomer, she found she had no problem getting meetings and fancy meals with record executives. They all wanted to be able to say they had met one of the world's most beautiful women. But when it came to actually getting her career as a singer going, she felt they didn't really take her seriously. They kept telling her she just wasn't ready. Well, nothing happened until this star-to-be met her husband-to-be, an entertainment publicist named Ramon Hervey. He introduced her to Ed Eckstein, president of Mercury Records, and Ed saw beyond her physical beauty. He heard something beautiful in her voice. So he put her on what he calls the path of credibility, giving her rich ballads to sing, songs that really worked for her full voice. The result was a singing career that took off not just because this former Miss America looked good, but because she sounded good. These days, that career's in full bloom because this week, she's won the Triple Crown. Her latest hit is at the top of the Black chart, at the top of the Adult Contemporary chart, and at the top of the Pop chart as well. The number 1 song in the USA for the second week in a row on Casey's Top 40 is Save the Best for Last by Vanessa Williams.
Casey's Top 40.
And that means we're up to the number 1 song in the USA on Casey's Top 40, and it's by a beautiful model, actress, and singer who's got another career she can always fall back on. She's an accomplished classical musician. You see, she grew up in a very musical family. Both her father and mother taught music in the public schools in Tarrytown, New York. And they made sure their daughter had a proper musical education. By the tender age of 5, she was taking music lessons not for a single instrument, but for 3 of them: piano, flute, and violin. And when she was 10, her parents expanded the young girl's musical horizons, inspiring her to study 3 more instruments: the viola, the clarinet, and what some consider the most difficult instrument in classical music, the French horn. Did the young girl have any fun with these non-stop music lessons? She told us at first when she was learning the basics, she cried a lot. But as her skills improved, she began to really look forward to her lessons and to the challenge of picking up new instruments. To this day, she still likes to relax by playing the piano for herself or picking up the flute and creating beautiful melodies for her family. And this former Miss America says that if her careers as an actress and singing star ever failed, with some practice, she could audition for a professional classical orchestra. But there's little chance of that, because she's too busy making hits, like the beautiful romantic ballad that for the 4th week in a row is the biggest hit in the USA. The number 1 song in the land on Casey's Top 40 is Save the Best for Last by Vanessa Williams.
AT40 Music News.
Also this summer, one of our favorite ladies, the talented and beautiful Vanessa Williams, is taking the right stuff to the comfort zone of Broadway. She'll take over for Tony Award winner Cheetah Rivera in the leading role of Kiss of the Spider-Woman. It'll mark Vanessa's Broadway stage debut. And that's a wrap, my friends, right here on
AT40 Music News.
Casey counts them down.
Well, now we're up to the current hit for Vanessa Williams, a woman whose children love singing so much she had a stage constructed for them in their home, complete with spotlights and a sound system. Like a lot of children, Vanessa's 2 young daughters, 5-year-old Jillian and 7-year-old Melanie, admire their mom, and they want to be just like her when they grow up. Not just beautiful like her, they also want to be able to sing like her, and they started to practice at an early age. Vanessa says it all began when Jillian and Melanie surprised their mom and dad by putting on little shows at the breakfast table. At first, Jillian and Melanie would lip-sync Vanessa's hits along with a tape. Then they started to actually sing and dance. And in time, the 2 young girls became so good at their breakfast table routines that Vanessa decided to do more to encourage them. So she gave them a nightclub of their own. Not a big one, but a small one Vanessa had built in the girls' playroom. It has a little stage complete with adjustable spotlights, a sound system with cordless microphones, and a karaoke system. Jillian and Melanie love their little stage, and hardly a night goes by that there isn't a show at Vanessa's house, with her 2 young daughters as the stars. Now, here's one of the songs Jillian and Melanie sing at those family shows, the song that's at number 26 this week on Casey's Top 40.
Casey's Top 40.
I'm Casey Kasem. Well, now we're up to Colors of the Wind. It's by a multi-talented singer, model, and actress who says she learned all about being strong from a famous comedian battling to survive the ravages of multiple sclerosis. The former Miss America met him several years ago when she was lucky enough to be cast as his co-star in the movie Another You. He's one of America's funniest men, Richard Pryor. In the course of making the film, the singer had to spend a lot of time with Pryor. As a newcomer to films, she was unsure of herself, a little timid and a little afraid. And Richard Pryor went out of his way to take her under his wing, even though he was in a great deal of pain every single day. He showed her how to stand up for her rights and how to always act like she was in control. He taught her that to be in charge, you have to be strong, even if you're afraid you aren't. If you believe in yourself, others will believe in you too. The amazing thing was that as Richard Pryor was building up the singer's strength, he was losing his own due to his multiple sclerosis. And in spite of that, she says Richard never let anyone feel sorry for him. After she finished the film, the singer carried those lessons in strength and courage into the recording studio. She recorded an album called The Comfort Zone, an album that gave her big hits like Save the Best for Last and Just for Tonight. And since then, her success has just gotten bigger. This week, her latest hit, a song from the animated film Pocahontas, climbs 2 notches to number 16.
Casey's biggest hits.
4 years ago this week, one of the biggest hits in the USA was the song that moved Vanessa Williams from singer to star. She did it by saving the best for last. Vanessa Williams first charted in 1988 with a small hit called The Right Stuff. She broke into the top 10 in 1989 with Dreamin', but her career bogged down for the next 3 years, and then she put out the album that changed her life, a multi-platinum CD called The Comfort Zone. And one of the songs from that album hit number 1 on the pop chart and stayed there for 4 weeks, making Vanessa a star, and a big one.
Casey's biggest hits.
4 years ago this week, one of the biggest hits in the USA was by a star who went from singing in Pocahontas last summer to being rescued by Arnold Schwarzenegger this summer. It's as radical a motion picture career transition as can be imagined. In the summer of 1995, it was Vanessa Williams who sang the love theme from Pocahontas, the Oscar-winning ballad Colors of the Wind. By contrast, during the summer of 1996, she's running for her life with every villain around out to kill her. only Arnold Schwarzenegger can save Vanessa from certain doom in one of the summer's most explosive blockbusters, Erasure. Two very different films, and two very big hits for Vanessa Williams. 4 years ago this week, she had another hit.
Casey's Countdown.
Dropping a notch from number 9 to 10 is a singer who attended Syracuse University in upstate New York. She's Vanessa Williams, and this is Where Do We Go From Here?
Casey's Coast to Coast.